good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome back to another episode of the Oliver Perry Show. Today, I've got a passive income ninja, a beast in community, a beast in multifamily raising. I'm so looking forward to you guys being able to hear this. But first, as always, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Miss Mandy Mcallister. Mandy, how are you today, man? How
Well, hi, Oliver. I am living the dream. My gosh, this is some production value that you're giving these listeners. I tell you what.
you feeling? Listen, it's a small team of one, so we do what we can here in our small team of one. But I'm so excited to have you on. There's so much we got to get into, but before we do, I want to make sure I give you the opportunity to give your background. Then I'm gonna hit you with the first question. We're gonna jump into it. You ready?
Let's do it.
Go ahead, Mandy. The floor is
Oh,
yours.
sorry. The first question. Let's jump into it. I didn't know.
Oh
Sorry.
no!
First time.
Yes.
Uh, so my background. I am a farm kid. I grew up on a farm. If you ever need to bale hay, I got you. I can help you with that, no problem. I ended up following a volleyball scholarship to a little school in Georgia, moved to Chicago the day after finishing that, did a master's in economics, worked on the floor of the Board of Trade because dad is a farmer plus, master's in economics equals work on the floor of the Board of Trade. Then spent 16 years in medical device sales, kind of chasing my tail of these, incredible golden handcuffs. That, if I just stay for 5 more years, I get vested in this other way. And, really missing out on a lot of personal, like, opportunity
Right.
that I saw. And the gift of COVID really brought me this chance to sit still in this chair for 3 full months when elective procedures weren't allowed, and really ramped up the real estate investing stuff that I was doing and realized, oh gosh, it's just a math equation
Right.
to figure out how much I need to leave my job.
Right.
So did those things all while, firmly believing that you're given two arms for a reason, right? One to pull yourself up and one to pull other people up. And I, with some friends, decided to start a group called Aspiring Women Achieving More, which kind of helps lift up a bunch of women to move forward and really create impact in a large way, really move for a chance to show women that, yeah, you can be in charge of stuff, and yeah, you can retire yourself or your husband. And we've had a lot of really cool results, Oliver. I'm pumped about it.
I love it. Wait, before that, let's give a round of applause to the AWAM ladies, the AWAMers. I know you guys are out there listening. I love me the AWAM team. The AWAM team is super dope. I've got to interview quite a few of the AWAMers already. So so we focus on branding in your real estate brand and how you're building it
Mm-hmm.
and marketing, things of that nature. So the first question, let's get into what is your brand mission?
My brand mission is to impact as many lives as possible in a very specific way,
Right.
allowing for choice. So, not realizing that, if you're, especially if you're a perfect little girl who does the perfect little things and you wait to raise your hand,
Right.
you do all the next right steps. You get the good job, get the big house, and you have a bunch of kids, and you do all of these things without realizing that you get a choice sometimes, or at least that was kind of my story, that I had, the big house and the right job, and I didn't have the fulfillment that I wanted because I didn't have the choice that I wanted. So a little bit of passive income allows for the chance to do different things with your life. One thing that I say is, once you get the money figured out,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go live your life.
Okay, so basically, your thought process is the power of choice comes from having the ability to make a choice because you've got the income, so you're not worried about all the rest of the stuff, right?
Yeah. If
Okay.
if you are beholden to paying a mortgage on $1 million home that
Mm-hmm.
you may or may not have wanted, you end up having to show up to a job that you may or may not like,
Right.
so you've got to make decisions to allow for more latitude, right? And
Right.
it really is just a decision. You've just got to couch it out that way.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So You have quite a bit going on though when you say that as well. You've got the AWAM crew, and then you've also
Mm-hmm.
got Good Fortune Investments. And
Mm-hmm.
how do those two, without kind of stating the obvious, but how do those two fit into allowing you the ability to help other people get that freedom of choice?
So Good Fortune Capital, what we do there, it's the bulk of my investing was just for my own accounts because
Right.
I wanted to build up a passive income floor for just myself, investments that were just owned by me and
Mm-hmm.
investments that were owned by me and a couple of partners in joint venture. But, once I hit that, income that I need to live my life how I want to live my life, I, am open to signing on to syndications to
Right.
help other people kind of work through the chance to get passive income without having to show up every day to manage that asset, especially folks who are, busy professionals. So once you have that passive income,
Mm-hmm.
then you can go really design your life how you want to design it.
Okay. Okay. That's that makes. Here's the my first thought goes to what's kind of that first thing that you kind of guide people to though, because even with
Mhm.
Good Fortune that's a little bit more advanced, I think, in my opinion, because that's when somebody's coming to you, they, hey, I got a deal, let's do this, as opposed to AWAM, because AWAM feels like more of um, a group that's to help people figure it out, right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how does that work with AWAM? How do you balance those two? Because you've got the advanced versus the beginner. How does that work out for you?
So, aspiring women achieving more, we're really the whole woman
Right.
with real estate kind of as the follow up. You
Ah,
know,
okay, got
like
it.
real estate is a vehicle that allows us for, a lot of latitude of choice.
Right.
My business partner in Aspiring Women is Victoria Griggs, who she is a military spouse. So she comes to real estate investing because her husband moved every 2, 3 years.
Right.
So how do you like hold down a job if you're moving locations every 2 or 3 years,
Right. Yeah.
So it's you know I think that there's a lot of you know learning that exists within aspiring women that's beyond just real estate stuff.
Mm.
um so
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's more about womanhood and building togetherness than it is just about real estate. That makes perfect sense.
mhm. Well, because if you think about like how like evolution of men versus women or whatever, if you read all those like relationship and you know gender relations books,
Right.
that women were hunter gatherers, and our brains haven't really evolved past that three
Right.
however many thousands of years ago, and we're communal beings. We do things together. Like if a man is gonna go kill an antelope, you don't talk.
Right.
You just go and you kill the antelope, and you don't need to look for a second antelope, which
Right.
is why men today never see the ketchup behind the mustard because they
Mm.
saw the ketchup and they stop because they killed the antelope and they're done. Right.
Right.
But women, we as gatherers, like you gotta, go down by the water and make sure that you don't get the berries that are close to the middle because those are really sour. And if you get the ones over by the tree, like we overshare information and we do things together. And if you come to my house today, as my girlfriend, I'm gonna hand you my baby. Like we take care of each other's stuff. So the chance to learn in an environment that, multifamily investing especially does tend to be dominated by men.
Right.
It's growing in terms of our female representation, but it
Absolutely.
is kind of overwhelmingly boys club, and a
Mm.
chance to discuss things and learn in a communal place like that's really empowering for me and for lots of other women.
Very much so. So your brand is both of those, of course, but AWAM is kind of the heart, the bread and butter for you, in your opinion. How have you customized that brand to reach the target? As a matter of fact, scratch that. Let's start at the target. What is the target with AWAM? Like, what woman are you looking for? What's the age? What do they do? What are the specifics in that?
Mm. We actually, Victoria and I have a planning call every Tuesday morning, and we were
Mm,
trying to nail down who is our avatar, right?
okay.
Because it's, largely the women who come to aspiring women to learn are, late 20s to early 50s. They're in a place that they want to learn, largely real estate related stuff,
Right.
investment related stuff, because that's what the bulk of us do. But that wanting a safe place to really move forward with their goals and really like unabashedly say, hey, listen, I'm running directly towards this really big goal, and I want to be next to someone who's going to give me a high five when I close on a 53 unit apartment complex,
Mm,
rather than get the, oh, must be nice. Oh, what did your kids do when you were doing this type of stuff? You know what I mean?
right.
Like the chance to be around like-minded individuals who are going to help push you forward in those goals.
Okay. So it's like-minded individuals anywhere between 25 to 50. Now that's a large range. How do you customize the message? Do you split the message up? How are you guys looking at that as far as getting that message out to each one of those groups? 25, they're in the TikTok and they're twerking and hanging out and they're at parties. They're out with the boys are out with them, and everybody's doing dance moves and stuff like that. But when you get to 50, 55, that's an older generation, and they're not like, they were still using rotary phones and black and white TVs for the most part. So maybe not that old.
I
Okay.
had a rotary phone growing up.
So did I, and so did I. I'm 39. That's how I know they had it. At least they had it. So how do you customize the message for those groups of people? Because male or female, the 25 to 50, that's a huge gap in the age group. How are
Yeah.
you guys looking at that message?
In terms of when it comes to the material, like the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that we're learning, like for instance, a really big piece, the biggest piece of multifamily investment, of investing in general, but especially commercial real estate, um, it's the numbers. Like, do you know the math? Do you
Right.
have an opinion on what the assumptions are going on behind the scenes to really get a handle of are these projections going to be plausible?
Right.
Um, that messaging is, you know, the fear of I'm too young to figure this out and I'm too old to figure this out and I'm a girl and this is a boys thing.
Right.
Like that is kind of universal when it comes to this, late 20s to early 50s woman, and it's not to be said that we haven't, done things where men are involved in this underwriting stuff, but I think the community of women lifting each other up, it's a very common message
Right.
that is relatable regardless of the limiting belief, I'd say.
Okay. Okay. For those women who are at 25 and in that range, I'm not saying everybody's twerking. It's just dance moves. The first thing came to mind. I apologize. Don't hurt my feelings. Okay. So with that said, you talked about that limiting belief part.
Mm-hmm.
What are the common limiting beliefs with women as opposed to what you see with men?
Ooh, there's social science data that
Mm,
backs this up, Oliver.
okay.
That, there was a study, I can't remember how many years ago, but HP, Hewlett
Okay.
Packard, did this study of the women and men who work for their organization and the folks that were going to pursue a promotion. They found in their organizational study that men needed to feel that they had, I don't know, 50, 60% of the qualifications of that promotion in order to apply for it and go for it.
Right.
Right. Do you know
Right.
how much women, what percentage women needed to feel that they knew? Do you,
Uh-oh.
do you have any idea?
Uh
100%.
oh, okay.
Hundred
I was about to go for a
percent.
commercial break. I was about to try and pull in a commercial break on that one. I didn't want to. I don't get it stumped. Okay, go ahead.
Phone a friend. Yeah.
Right.
But so women need to feel like they, know all of the answers, and inherently in investing, inherently, especially in a large transaction like a multifamily transaction, you will never have all the answers.
Right.
You will never know all of the things that there are to know. At some point, you've got to just trust that you're going to hold yourself and let go of that branch.
Right.
Just trust you're going to fly. So a chance to that the world is going to come to a complete end and I'm going to be penniless living under a bridge with my kid
Right.
is one that I had. And then I realized, oh gosh, I'm reading all of this Stoic philosophy. Why don't I, just apply this idea of actual worst case scenario? So what
Mm.
is the actual worst case scenario if I'm going to leave my day job and, my passive income that exceeds my needs
Right.
dwindles to nothing? Like
Right.
I'm not going to be under the bridge. I'm going to go find another sales job. And I'm pretty
Mm.
sure I could find another sales job in like 10 minutes if you
Right.
asked me to, because
Right.
I have such strong relationships in medical device. And I worked really hard whenever I was at a job. So
Right.
I know I can deliver. So really think through that worst case scenario. And once you can mitigate that risk and get comfortable with the actual
Mm-hmm.
worst case scenario, it's way easier to move forward in anything you're doing.
So what's interesting about what you said is heard the same thing from so many people, real estate investors and otherwise, and they'll say, "Well, what if I do this and everything falls apart?" And I always tell them, "Are you going to die if it happens?" They'll say, "No, of course." I'm not expecting to. Okay, cool. So we know you're not, you're not gonna pass on. So that's out the way. Are you gonna be homeless? No, I can live at my mom's house. I've got a sister, a brother, a cousin who let me stay with
Mhm.
them. Okay, cool. So what's the problem? What are we afraid of now?
Yeah.
It's always this fear that they're gonna get the absolute worst real estate deal on earth, which is like 1 out of 100, and they like you'd really have to be trying to get destroyed in real estate. Yes, it's tough, it's not easy, but in real estate, like it's not somebody's gonna stop you and say, "Hey, that might be a bad idea" at some point in time. So they're so
And
afraid of
banks
that
will
limited
stop you.
release. Was that say again?
The bank, if you are
Yeah.
borrowing
Oh
money
yeah.
for this, the bank
Oh
will
yeah.
not let you borrow money. That is an extra set of eyes that they will not let you move forward. So I
Mm-hmm.
was actually talking with a female economist. I love a lady economist because
Hey.
I'm a lady economist.
Okay, wait. So let's
Um,
shout her out. What's her name so we can look her up and support her in some form or fashion?
well, her name, I'm going to butcher her last name, Adila McChick. I'm
I'll take
sorry,
it.
Adila.
Nope, it's okay.
My
I'll
my
take it.
new friend from GoBundance.
Okay.
She's an economist in New Jersey. She
Okay.
works with the exchanges. Anyway, we were talking about like she wants to be in multifamily real estate,
Right.
and it's the risk, but the risk, but the risk. And okay, let's normalize what that risk is.
Right.
So if we look back to 2006, 7, 8, the very worst correction, and overall it was what, 10-12%
Yep.
correction in terms of home values.
Right.
um, a 10-12% drop is the absolute worst we've ever seen, and it was this comedy of errors,
Right.
right?
Right.
That, let's think about this, Oliver. A 10 to 12% drop in a stock can happen on Tuesday.
It's a
Why are
fact.
we so scared of an overall like risk of a 10 to 12% drop? And oh, by the way, working on the floor of the board of trade, I saw guys put on trades where in a second they lost millions of dollars, and they
Wow.
doubled down and let it go against him and let it go against him. And if my entire 50 unit building burns to the ground,
Right.
I've got insurance on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the actual worst case scenarios, the actual real life risk is significantly, it's different. It's so much less because it's so different because these are real hard assets. And one thing I say a lot to the folks that I get a chance to coach, any problem you got, the more truth you put to that problem, the easier it is to address. You want to lose some weight? Put some truth to it. What is your weight now? What should you be? You want to reach financial freedom? Put truth to it. I made a little calculator that helped. I'll give you the links if you're interested, but it
Please.
helps you figure out what do you need in order to be differing levels of financially free. Put more truth
Wow.
to a problem and it's easier to address.
Wow. Listen. First of all, a little pow pow for the fact dropping. My goodness, like that deserved a second pow pow. Give another one. There we go. So that's so good. One more time, repeat that quote for me one more time because I want to make sure the people who are listening and watching catch it. So I need you to reinforce it. Give them one more time. Go for it. Go for it.
You got it. The more truth you put to any problem, the easier it is to address.
And again with the pow pow. I love my pow pow. That's one of my favorites.
Okay. That's
But
so
yeah,
good.
so wow. Okay, so that's good. That's really good because that risk is something that I think. Well, I know. Not even think. I know. I know it affects everybody in some form or fashion. Somewhere down the road, it hits them. So let's backtrack a little bit and talk about where the brand is going now and what you kind of foresee in the future. So AWAM is out in the streets. A lot of women doing a lot of impactful things.
Mhm.
I talked to four. I think
Really?
four. I think it's four. Because the Divine, you,
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to Victoria.
Mm.
Somebody else I'm missing. Martinez is Nikki or is it Becky?
Nikki Martinez.
It's
She's
Nikki.
part of our lady tribe too,
Yes, yes.
for
So
sure.
Nikki, yeah. So Nikki's the other one. Um,
Yeah.
so I've still got a bunch to go down the list, but don't you worry, I'm gonna get everybody. In the meantime, though, where do you see the AWAM group going now? Like, what's the next evolution for AWAM as a brand?
Yeah. So, one thing that we are doing that I'm most proud of is, you talked about our girl Divine, so I'm going to use her as an example. Sorry, Divine, for talking behind your back. But, she is a brilliant copywriter
Yeah, she
and
is.
she is brilliant at ClickFunnels. And she is, she's a little bit shy,
Right,
right?
right,
So her zone of genius is so incredible and well developed and helpful to
right.
so many people. But, if you're a little bit shy, maybe you're not going to go out and like develop a whole platform to, get it out in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
So, what we are doing at Aspiring Women is we're partnering with women like Divine, who, we're helping them put together modules and courses to be able to roll out stuff that's kind of been white labeled, that's been branded under Aspiring Women,
Right.
and we're going to work to help promote that stuff. So we're really excited to get Divine's ClickFunnels uh, course up and running that should be hitting, we think, Q1. So we're doing something on that. We're doing an underwriting club because, again, underwriting is, in my opinion, the single very most important piece
Absolutely.
of investing. And let me list a couple more.
Please go for it.
We've done one on Victoria's journey from $0
Okay.
passive income to $5,000 passive income. She
Okay.
has a really instructive way of breaking down what it is that she's doing in order to move towards that passive income cash flow goal. Last one that we do is a 90-day sprint, kind of modeled after, if you know the 12-week year. How can I
Okay.
get super drilled down on a 90-day goal? And we call them zone accountability groups,
Right.
where everybody gets together every Friday is when we've been doing them, and talks about the one thing that they're doing and the steps that they're taking to get there, and workshopping issues that they might be having. So we're working with a bunch of different women to partner to bring things like this to impact as many lives as possible.
Wow. Okay. So much great stuff there. Okay. I gotta call Divine and talk to her about this ClickFunnel thing. All right, so this this is amazing.
Take a course.
I listen one thing at a time. I've got a lot of stuff happening, Mandy. I've got a podcast and a YouTube channel. I've got to master something first. I'm kind of all over the place, unfortunately. That's why I got to hire help. I'm probably gonna have to get her to do it for me. To be honest with you, Divine, I need a discount. Okay, so with with everything that's happening and the brand moving forward, how did you guys come up with that plan? Because that's a difficult plan, particularly if we're talking about branding and marketing as we do on the show. That's a
Mm-hmm.
plan you guys had to sit down and create. What was that
Mm-hmm.
process like, and how did you guys decide, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it?
We started doing just weekly accountability groups. Like I would host, all right, what did you do since last week? How did you do since you talked about what you were going to do last week?
Right.
Did you hit any roadblocks, and can we workshop that? And then what do you want accountability on for next week?
Right.
And in that, we saw all of these different like geniuses in our
Mm.
midst that were, I don't want to say wasting, but not putting out there as much as they could be putting out there their zones of genius.
Right.
So, it was kind of by observing what was in front of us that we said, hey, would you like to do this? And we kind of have the back end already set up. We can just get from you some videos, and we will plug and play, and we'll promote and be able to, hold you up as your zone of genius. And all you
Mm.
got to do is perform. All you got to do is dance if you're a 25-year-old twerking. But if you see what I did for you there?
Yeah, you're
Um,
saving me. Saving me. I appreciate the save. Thank you. Thank you very much.
yeah, so, right. So basically, we just saw what was in front of us, and we thought, how can we lift up these women in a greater way?
Right.
And oh gosh, what a great idea, because now we're going to be able to, help them impact more lives. And it's this ripple effect is just moving forward in such a tremendous way. It's such a neat thing to get to watch.
Yeah, that is a really cool thing to get to watch. It's just you telling that story brings to mind a few things I want to make sure I point out now because I'll forget later. So earlier you said that you guys were already doing the accountability thing. It's amazing to me how often huge things come from very small ideas.
Mm-hmm.
From Amazon being in a garage to Apple being in a garage to God knows how many others, to somebody deciding, hey, I want to find a way to make art available for everybody and with no middleman. And now you've got this wild NFT movement that's going on. It's so simple, the simple ideas and the stuff that you see in front of you that can turn into a big idea. So for those of you who are watching and listening, whatever that is in front of you that you're doing already, find a way to create that, to build it into an impactful thing for everybody. How can you hit everybody with that? So with that said, let's move into segments because we got a lot to go through. So we're gonna move into segments. All right. So first question for you is what we call the troop to task. And for those who are watching and listening, a troop to task is simply, Mandy, you giving the listener or watcher one thing they can do right now to move themselves forward in the real estate space or real estate branding.
Put truth to it. What is your goal? And is it's just like, treat it like, your GPS, treat it like Google Maps, right? Like if I'm going to drive from Chicago and I want to go on a vacation, right? If I'm going to go to LA or if I'm going to go to New York, that is a completely different path I need to take. So go on a vacation is not an endpoint of truth, right? Go to Santa Monica Boulevard, whatever. That is an endpoint with a lot of truth to it that's going to help me move forward a lot more quickly. And then once you've figured out whatever that North Star is, all you got to think about is what's that next right step. And if you can figure out what that next right step is, because think of what GPS will tell you. I'm going to Santa Monica Pier, but all I need to think about is, hey, go 500 feet, turn left, right? So your next right step will make the next right step appear after that. So put truth to the problem. It'll be easier to address. I promise you.
I love your style of teaching and coaching. I really do. I really enjoy it. It's just so simple, clean, and easy to understand. It's not a whole bunch of big words being thrown at my head and I got to duck and avoid them. I like it. I like it. Keep it clean and simple. Okay.
It's like how Einstein says that, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Ooh. One more time with the pow pow. I love it. So good. All right. So let's get into the next question. Next question is a toughie. We ask every guest, what's one question you wish you were asked more often, and what's the answer to that question?
This is so incredibly difficult, Oliver. I'm in this situation where I'm asked a lot of questions, having built a brand, having kind of built a little bit of a name for myself in small multis real estate. Lots of people come to me with, hey, I'll help you however I can. Right. How can I help you? But I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I guess my ask of, that question, how can I help you, would be, hey, I am excellent at ClickFunnels. I would love to help you think through how you're bringing on new investors. Oh, well, now I can take you up on that, right? Or I am excellent at organizing, data. Whatever it is, I wish I were asked more specifics. And back to the truth thing. I wish I were asked questions that were more specific with more truth to it so that I could address it better.
So really the question you wish you were at, well, you get asked the question all the time is, how can I help you? You just wish the question was asked with more specificity.
There it is.
That it is. That's it. I'm gonna get a pow pow for that. All right. So with more specificity, you wish they would come to you and ask for, hey, can I help you with such and such and such and such, right? This way, making it more, it's easier for you to say yay, nay, or maybe we can work together here, there, or everywhere, however.
Or point them in the right direction. I can't help nebulousness.
Right. Nebulousness. Explain nebulousness. What's that mean?
Well, if it's nebulous, if it's too like amorphic, if it's without structure, like if you don't know where, it's like I want to go on vacation. That's without structure. I want to go to Santa Monica Pier. That is with structure. That is with truth. Right.
Okay. All right. So I got to give a pow pow for that. because I need to add that to my dictionary. Nebulousness. I'm writing that down.
I think I made it up. I'm not gonna lie.
Doesn't matter.
Nebulous is a word. Nebulousness may or
This
may
isn't a
not.
platform of facts all the time. It's just sometimes we throw things out there and see if it sticks. Nebulousness.
So good. So good.
Okay. So, I got to make sure everybody's able to get a hold of you because we're going to move into FAQ, but I want to make sure we can close this section out so you can give them your information, how to get a hold of you, how to reach out to you, how to work with you. It's on you, Mandy.
Thank you. So MandyMcAllister.com links to basically everything I'm doing. There's, information on Good Fortune Capital. There's information on aspiring women, links to our YouTube channel and all of our handles for social media. So MandyMcAllister.com is kind of the catch-all for everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mandy Mcallister. Mandy, thank you so much for coming on today. I truly, truly enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to the FAQ so you guys can hear the FAQ as well. But Mandy is a beast, and this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. So, Mandy, again, thank you so much for coming on. And if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and get into the FAQ.
Born ready, Oliver. Bring it on.
Let's do it.